All right, let's get started with the JavaScript. For now, our form is just HTML and CSS, and we don't have any errors display when we try to submit the form. So we want to make sure we handle all errors and to make sure that the user cannot submit any inputs empty. So first of all, let's go to our JavaScript and set things up. Open your JavaScript. So we have our JavaScript, and make sure you have your JavaScript linked just as we have here. All right. So once that is set up for you, you can go ahead. So the first thing we want to do is we want to import all these HTML elements that we need into our JavaScript. For example, we have our name input. We need to import it. We have our phone number input, and notice that we gave all of them an ID. The name input has an ID of name, the phone input has an ID of phone, as well as the email input, the password input, and also the checkbox input has an ID of box. So now if you have that, you're good. So you can as well call this the sub, but make sure you understand that it's a class name, not an ID name. So let's try to access all these guys in our JavaScript, starting from the name input. So we use what we call the const to create a variable. This variable will be what will be holding. This is what is going to be holding our input element or our HTML elements. So since we're dealing with the name input, first of all, we start by naming it name input. Let me name it with a capital I, input, so that I can be able to tell that it's two word. So we do document, that means go to our HTML and get the element, which is dot get element by ID. Since we have an ID name, so we can name it the name, right? So once you finish that expression, you want to use semicolon to close it. So you go to the next line, do it for all the other inputs that you have. Const phone input equal to document dot get element by ID, and we have the phone because I know that my ID name is phone. All right, let me put a semicolon and I'll go to the next line. Say const email input. Yeah, email input is equal to document dot get element by ID, and we have the email. Then we add a semicolon to the next line. Do this for password. Const password input is equal to. Let me take this code. So for password input, we are going to put the password document dot get element by ID. We named it password. So let's call the button. I think that was the last. And remember, we had a class name for the button and not. Let's call it submit btn. Right. Let me use a capital B. So we have that equal to document dot. We can do a get element by class name instead, since we are using a class name. So I remember the name being sub because we're using short for submit. So now that we have all our elements already active, So let's do where to get the form. You know that the form is, go back to our HTML, the form is what is going to hold, like in JavaScript, a form has its own event listener. Just as a button has an event listener of click, we can do an event listener of submit, so that the our website will be listening to when the users want to submit the form. All right, so let's have an ID name for the form. Let's call it form. All right, let's go to our JavaScript and let's get that. So we do a const form equal to, so you can name this form anything, just as you can name all these guys anything. All right, equal to document dot get element by ID, and then we get the form. All right, throw in your semicolon, and that is that. So let's go ahead and start adding event listeners to the form and submit it. When it's being submitted, rather, let's get event listener when the form is being submitted. Okay, all right, let's continue. And now we have to make what we call a regex, a regular expression, regex. So this regex is a string of characters that we can be able to use to validate if our email is correct or not. So we can do a const email regex. So this is going to be the string of characters we're going to be using to validate if our email is correct. Okay, let me just go copy it. I've gotten the string of characters. You can just pause the video to also get it. So this is going to be our regular expression for to validate our email. So what we want to do is listen for an event in the form. So we're going to add an event listener on our form. So we are talking about this form. So form dot, we're going to add an event listener. Add event listen listener. So in brackets, we're going to add which events. Oh, I'm doing a mistake. Form dot add event listener. All right. So in quotations, we're going to add a submit event listener. So I'm going to be sharing all types of event listener in the group. So stay tuned. So let's use, so this is going to listening for a submit event. So now what do you want us to do when we submit? That is this. So we add a function. This function is going to carry, wait, let me just redo, this is not what I want. This function is going to carry the action that is going to be performed when the form is being submitted, or when the form is trying to be submitted. So we're going to be listening for an event in this function. That is that E. It can be anything, but make sure you're using E because it's like a thing. So it doesn't matter if you use anything, we can say E or we can say event. So for simplicity's sake, we're going to be using E. All right, so you can use anything. So it's an event. So this function is going to be listening for the submit event. And what we're going to be doing is that one thing you notice before I run this, if I run this code and if I click on create account, automatically this is already being submitted. If I click it again, it's submitted. Now watch, if I try to go back, nothing happens. Go back, nothing happens. This is because it's submitted and transferred me to a new page. All right, so this, we're going to be preventing that from happening. So it's not supposed to be submitting if they do not impute any values. So let's use curly brackets after, and then we hit enter here. So in here we want to be able to do this event. I want you to prevent that default submit. So I'll say e dot prevent default, then throw in your brackets and then your semicolon. All right. So what we're going to do is get the values for all these input that we got. So we got these inputs, right? But we're only getting the HTML element. What of the value that the user has entered? Are we able to get it? Not yet. So let's get those values inside of here. So for example, the user enters their name, say Wilson, for example, or say John Doe. We want to be able to get this name when the user submits to know if it is empty, right? So we've successfully gotten the input, but we have not gotten the value that the inputs are holding. So we're going to say const name is going to be equal to name input. Go to that one, name input, and do a dot value. This dot value is going to give us the value of the name. All right. So for example, on submit, we want to console.log the name. So whenever the user enters a name and hit submit, it's going to put the name in our console. So let's test it if it's working. So first of all, let's open our console to see if it's actually showing. Then we click on name, say Wilson. So how are we going to submit this? Let's see. Create account. Now we have that in our console, right? These two come in handy to view and unview your console. All right, so let's go back. It's working. So far so good. We are getting our name input. All right, so let's do it for all other inputs like the email, the password. I think those are the inputs we have. Let's see. We have phone, email, and password. Let's do it for the rest. So we have const phone equals to phone input the value at a semicolon, then have const email equal to email input the value semicolon, have const password equal to password input the value semicolon. All right, so now that we have these guys, let's now start validating them. So before we start validating them, what if the email is not correct? We need to be able to tell the users that, hey, you don't have an email, you didn't have an email. So here we're going to be displaying those errors on the web page. We have to have something that we'll be able to use to display those errors in here. All right, so the best way to do that is have a p tag right above the form. This p tag, we call it error. We will leave it empty. id id error. So this where we're going to be passing all our errors in from our JavaScript to let the user know that, hey, you have not filled in your email, hey, you have not filled in your password. All right, so we come over here, can do const error equal to document dot get element by id in bracket and in quotes error, then add your semicolon. And now let's move forward. Let's start by adding a conditional statement. So we're going to do an if the name is equal to, so we want to check if something is equal, you use double equal to sign. If it's equal to empty strings, so if it's equal to an empty quotation, that means if it is empty, what we want to do is we're going to display an error. So we're gonna do the error dot inner html has to be equal to enter your name. All right. So else if, so want to check again if the, so here comes where we use the regex. So if we want to validate the email, if email regex do dot test, so we're going to be using this email regex to test the email, right? So inside this quotation, inside this curly brackets, we want to test. If you test it and if it is true that the email, this line means that, we see the first time we have an apostrophe, that an apostrophe, sorry, an exclamation mark, email regex. It means that whatever result we have here, if it is true, turn it to false. If it is false, turn it to true. So we're doing, now remove the apostrophe and do email regex dot text email. It's going to be email regex dot text email. So it's going to be testing each character the user enter if it is actually in the email format. So we want to do error dot inner text, inner html rather, equal to enter your email. So we'll do another else if so that we can test for the phone number. I think we should have tested for the phone number before the email. So in your own, you will have to test for the phone number. So let me just correct things here. If phone is equal to an empty string, we want to use this same snippet over here. Enter your phone number. So we do enter your phone, and now we have everything correct. So let's do for the password. So if password is equal to an empty quotations, also want to also check if it is if it is less than 6 characters. We don't want the person to also be able to log in to sign up with a small password with less than 6 characters. So we do and password less than 6, password dot length. Is it password or length? Yeah, I think it's password dot length. If password dot length GTH is less than 6, we want to put enter a valid email, or rather enter a valid password. Let me spell this correctly. Just find out. Enter a valid password. So else will be if they actually enters everything correct. So we put an else. Else, that means if they everything is correct, what we want to do is send an alert. You will see what this alert does. And we'll do a form submitted. And then we're going to do error dot inner html. All right, before we even do this error dot inner html, let's see why we need to do it. Let's run this so far. So let's get rid of the console. So if click on create account, I don't think it's working yet. Click on it, it's not working. So let's see why that is not working. So I think the reason why it's not working is because this error, we should put it outside this form event listener. I'm going to cut my own out and I'll put it right outside with the rest. All right. So I think we're good. Let's test it out. If I click on create account, I'm supposed to be having an error. So let's see if we are getting this error correctly from our HTML. We have an ID of error and it's a p tag and it displays error correctly. So let's check our JavaScript. Get element by ID. Okay, I think everything is correct, but I don't seem to know why we are having an issue. Okay, let me correct this guy. Enter your phone. Why is that? Why was that not showing? So we have email regex. Let me just add up exclamations. So let's see. I think I know what the issue might be. Let's see these values. These values. Okay. Let me see something. We are not getting an alert and we are not getting an error either. So let's see if it's just the error. Let's get rid of console. Name, say John, phone number, blah blah blah, email. You want to add a normal email. It doesn't have to be correct, but just follow the pattern of an email. John at email or at gmail.com rather. John at gmail.com. Password 123456791. So we are not validating this checkbox. So just let's click on create account. Let's see if it will show form submitted. All right, it says form submitted. That means the whole thing is working, but the error is seeming not to be showing. It doesn't seem to be showing. That error seems not to be showing. So it's actually working, but there's an issue with the error. So let's see if or what the error might be with the error details. So far so good. I don't see anything wrong yet. From here, I think everything is okay. Go to the HTML. Um, I also does not see anything wrong. Let's see if it is precedence. Let's take it from up and put it somewhere under or underneath or outside the form. Let's see it. We have not put it outside the form, so let's just test it like this. It's still inside the form, but now it's downwards. So let's click on create account. It's not still showing. So let's take it from here and let's put it outside the form. Hopefully it works outside the form. But this is just a test. I don't think it will still work. Nothing is working. So that is not the problem. Let's try a different approach. Let's put it back here. Let's trim these values. That means we're taking, if there is empty spaces, it will take it out. That's what this trim does. Those trim. I don't think it has brackets. Dot trim. Also the email we have dot trim. So I think dot trim is okay for those guys. So if we have create account, it's not also working. So let's see if it needs brackets. See the color changes. So let's just hope that it works. So this dot trim, you might need to put it. Use my keyboard to. Okay, run it. At the console. Also, nothing is working out. There's one last thing I would like to try. Let's get all these inputs into the form. Just the inputs. We are not using the submit button though, so just the inputs. Paste it inside the form at the beginning part. Let's run this again. Create accounts. Still nothing. So I just observed that I've been using double equal to assign these values. Error.inner equal to enter your name. Supposed to be 1 equal to. Just do that for the rest. So let's test it out. Enter your name, or let me just click on submit right away. So we have this error, enter your name. All right. So when we enter our name, say Wilson, click on create account, we still have enter your email. It didn't tell us to enter our phone number, so let's just follow what is prompting us. Email. So I have to include an at in the email. On gmail.com. Create account. I enter a valid password. I have to enter 6 characters. And it worked without it telling us to enter our number. So let's correct that. Let me take away this console.log error. Why did it not tell us to? I think because our phone number is actually a number and we're already trimming it. So let's remove the trim for our phone number. And we are doing name input here instead of phone input. So if you have that issue, please correct it. So let's see. I don't know why things will just stop showing out of nowhere. So when we run it again, get rid of the console. We're saying create account. Now it's telling me enter your phone. Okay. Now let's furthermore style this arrow to look like an actual arrow, to have a red color, make it more smaller, and then put it in the middle. All right. So let's go and do that. So we'll go to our CSS. Remember the ID we gave it was error. So pound error curly brackets. Then we're going to do a color of red, and then we'll do a font size of, let's say, 12 pixel, something small. And then we'll do a text align of center to put it in the middle. Center. Let's run this. So if I click submit, we have that error, enter your name. So guys, so far so good. We've come to the end of form validation. If you find this tutorial interesting, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in our next tutorial. Let's put in an email. Say john at email.com. That is the wrong address, so it's also telling me that, so I have to put a nice address. So it's telling me enter a valid password, put in a few characters, still telling me submitted. Okay, so that is that, but there is still an issue here. I put in few characters for my password, just 3 characters, and it's still submitting it. And after submission, I still have my name and all these details are still here. So let's empty, and I still having my error here even after submission. So let's correct all of this. So we'll go to our JavaScript. So here we want to check if the password is I think and should work it, but I don't know why and is not working it. So what we can do is down here after submission, we can do the error dot inner HTML equal to empty string. That will make it empty. So after submission, we also want to get the name, the value should be equal to empty string as well. And then we'll repeat the process. Or before we repeat the process, let's test if these few ones are working. Get rid of the console. Say John, phone number, email, John at email gmail.com, password 123, create account. Now you say form submitted, click OK, and we still have our name still there, so that is not working. All right, so what we can do is, so far so good, the error is getting away. Let's see if the error is getting away actually. Click on create account, it says enter your name, enter a phone number, enter random email, and then enter a password, click create account. So the error leaves, but the text are not leaving. So what we can do is, after all of this, down here, we're going to see if we can do the name equal to, wait, I think I see something right now. Let's see something again. Name equal to an empty quotations. Let's try this out. Name, phone number, email at gmail.com. It doesn't matter if it's at Gmail. You just want to know that you're following this pattern. So if I click on create account, the name is even still there. So far so good. We've done this, and we're gonna end it here for a reason. we can get rid of those input values. We can get rid of all those input values if we want to. But so far so good, we've come to this part. Let's see if we can get rid of those input values. What I think we can do is, instead of targeting named of value, we can target the name input of value and let it equal to an empty string. Just repeat the process for the rest. So we're going to do phone input of value going to be equal to an empty string, and we have email input of value going to be equal to an empty string as well, end it with a semicolon, and the last one is the password input of value going to be equal to empty quotations as well. So let's see if this works. So we add our name, John, number 1234, whatever, John at gmail.com, password, make sure you enter 6 characters, and then click on create account. So if I click OK, the input should be empty, and that works except for the password, of course. So let's see why the password is not working. All right, we did password instead of password input of value. So finally, we just perfected this code, and make sure you go through with all the tutorial. Where you don't understand, rewind, rewatch till you understand it. See you guys in the next class.